Hi. Sorry about this. This is probably one of the saddest videos I'm going to have to make, but I have to tell you that I had to have my lovely Buster put to sleep on Tuesday morning. On Monday he was playing with the gardener. I said playing, he was being petted by the gardener. And he got stuck down the steps. He'd gone down to the lawn with her. He couldn't get back up the steps, so we helped him back up the steps. And as the day wore on, he was increasingly more wobbly. But because I love him, of course, I made excuses for him as usual. I mean, you know, for a while I've been telling you that he's had piddly problems, and he's also started out losing control of his bowels occasionally. But I put up with it because I loved him so much. Anyway, I was making his dinner. It's Gigi's dinner. I'd put him on chicken and rice because he had a poorly tummy and he'd been sick. So while I was cooking it, he was in the kitchen, you know, usually hovering because he liked his food. And then he disappeared and I heard this clump and I thought, where's he gone? So I put his dinner in the bowl, turned round to find him when he was in his bed in the front room. So I said to him, come on, your dinner's ready and everything. And he wouldn't move. So in the end, I brought his dinner to him and I said, you're a king, aren't you? Breakfast, dinner in bed, yeah? Not everybody gets this, I was telling him. Anyway, he ate the rice. And then a bit later on, I tried to get him up to go for a wee and that, and I couldn't. He wouldn't. So me being stupid, I thought, I'll let him have a rest and then he'll get up in a bit. Anyway, when it was time to go to bed, I still couldn't get him up, and so I sat up with him on Monday night. And he just kept looking at me with his big eyes, checking I was still there. So I stroked him more or less all of the night. But come the daylight, I thought, yeah, I've got to make this decision, as difficult as it is, I've got to do it, because he's obviously not going to move. And by this time he was starting to whimper a little bit, because he couldn't be comfy, because he was probably wet through and I couldn't pick him up to put even dry bedding under him. So I rang my dog walker. Well, I rang my son first of all, because I didn't even know which vet he was registered under, because my son used to see to all his regular injections and everything. Every time he came, he would take him and get him, you know, his booster jabs sorted out and everything. And he said, I think it's time, Mum. So my dog walker, she was lovely, she rang the vet and arranged everything for me, and they came and they were lovely. And they put him to sleep in his bed and just took him away. I mean, Gigi's still bewildered. He was here and he doesn't know what went on. He still keeps looking for Buster, as we all do. Anyway, if I could stop crying long enough, I'll just give you a little potted history about him. He was 15. We got him in the family when he was 7 months old. He came from a rescue centre and he had been abused and badly treated. And he was so thin he could see his ribs. He was in a bad way. And it was my son who bought him for his then fiancée, who's now his wife. And the only time during his life he had to go in a kennels was on the day they got married, because obviously all the family were at the wedding. And he had to go in kennels for the night, just one night. They took him on the honeymoon with him, and he was so distressed by this visit to the kennels. Maybe it was too soon, maybe he thought he was being given back. I don't know what went through his little head. But on the honeymoon they had to take him to an emergency vet, and he had to go on tranquilizers. And all his fur, well, not all his fur, patches of fur fell out. He was so distressed. So we decided then and there that he would never be, you know, left without people. So I shared him for a long time, because my son and daughter-in-law are bikers, and they used to go to weekend biking events and different things like that. And because he married into a family of teenagers, as they were at the time. They couldn't always be trusted, you know, to be there. Because I'm skipping forward a bit. What I should say was when Buster was only young and they hadn't had him long, he was with my grandson, my step-grandson. And he'd seen a dog across the road or something, and he was still young and giddy at the time. And I don't know whether he broke off his collar or broke off his lead, or whether he wasn't on his lead, I don't know. But he dashed into the road after this other dog, and he got hit by a Land Rover. And you know, they have I don't know what you call them in America, but they have the big sort of fancy bumper things at the front. You know, the big, some people call them cow catchers, you know, they were big things. And it hit him. And they didn't know at first whether he would survive because it injured his back legs. And the main thing was that he couldn't do a wee. And I was off work that particular time. I think I had some holidays owing to me. So my son brought him down and he said, look, you know, if he can't wee, he's got to be put to sleep. So I thought, I'm not having this, because he was only young. So I spent all day massaging him. We were out in the garden, it was a lovely day. And I massaged all his back end and everything like that. And eventually he tottered down the steps and he had this huge wee. And I have never seen, he's so relieved to see a dog wee in my life. It was such a great day that I knew he didn't have to go to sleep, you know. But ever since then it left him with a weak bladder. So he's never been able to be left more than about 3 or 4 hours without needing a wee. And of course, when I was working, he was still at my son's. I had him high days, holidays, weekends. He was like a joint dog in a way. But when I retired, he'd started having more problems, and my son and daughter-in-law had changed their shift patterns at work and that, because it meant he was on his own for longer than 3 or 4 hours. So they were coming home every night to puddles and sometimes even worse. And he ruined one lot of laminate flooring for them because it hadn't been properly sealed, and you know. I'm sure you don't need me to go into details, but it wasn't very pleasant. So my son asked me, did I want him? Because I was there to look after him and let him out every 3 or 4 hours. And this went on for a number of years. If I had to go in hospital or anything like that, my son and daughter-in-law took him back again, and so he never went anywhere else without us. But this last year or so has been very, very difficult for me. Constant washing, 3 or 4 times a day, washing his bedding and everything. But you ignore it, don't you, because you love him. So you put up, you know, people say your house smells a bit wee, you know, because he'd have a sneaky little wee somewhere on the carpet and I wouldn't have noticed. Somebody gave me a Vax, which I was very, very thankful for. A Vax is one of those cab washing things. So it came in very useful. But last week he was having accidents all over the place, and I thought, I was discussing it and I said, I can't make the decision, but it's time. Anyway, thankfully, thankfully Buster made the decision easy for me. He decided it was time to go. Anyway, although this is hard, I knew I had to do it, because I know you all loved him as much as I did. He was a kind of little character. I'm filming this on his favourite chair. He used to love to sit on it and look out the window and argue with the passing postman, which is a legacy that Gigi takes over. So, anyway, thank you all for your lovely messages on Facebook. You've all been so kind. And I know that a lot of you have lost pets yourself, especially. I know that Erin's lost a very, very much loved Chihuahua. So I know that a lot of people have left messages saying they understand because they've had to do the same thing with their pets when they got older. They're part of the family. They're not pets. He was like my furry son, really. He was 15 years. And I'm going to miss him dreadfully. I know you will miss him too. So, at the moment it's just me and Gigi, and I'm so grateful for them letting me have Gigi. I've been looking after him for longer this week than what I normally do because they know how upset I've been, so they've been letting me have him longer. We can hear him growling and grumbling. I don't know what he's doing. But he's been such a big comfort, haven't you? But he's bewildered, he doesn't know what's happening, he doesn't know where Buster is. And the funny thing is, I'd booked him for a wash and his toenails clipped with the dog wash lady on the Tuesday morning. But of course he couldn't have them. Gigi had his done, not Buster. Buster loved it because the dog wash lady came in and he loves her. She came in and made a big fuss at him. So he had a good send-off. My lovely neighbour next door, Julie, she bought me a rose bush to plant in the garden in his memory. And I've arranged to get his ashes coming back, so I'm going to get a nice little container. I'm going to put some of his ashes underneath the rose bush when it's being planted. And I'm going to keep the rest in a little box or something. I know it sounds morbid. I just can't let go of him just yet. Anyway, thanks once again. And I'm hoping that Sue's going to come this afternoon. And if she does, I'm going to make a promise not to mention him. And we'll just get back to our normal and try to get life going as it is, yeah, without having tears everywhere. I have to. I'm get on with things. So anyway, thank you all for your patience, and I hope I don't upset anybody with this video, but I felt I had to explain why you won't be seeing Gigi. Why you won't be seeing Buster anymore, you'll just be seeing my little Gigi. Well, my borrowed Gigi, let's be honest about it. I can be his adopted mummy for the time. Can't sweetie pie. Bye everybody.